This past weekend in Open 5 for North America, we saw the matchup that I've been looking forward to the most this split between GenG and the Ultimates. It didn't happen where a lot of us thought it might happen, which would be a little bit higher up, deeper into the tournament, as it were, but some power outage issues from LJ forced Ultimates into the lower bracket early in the group stage, and GenG ran into the NRG Buzzsaw to find their way into this top 8 first round of the playoff win or go home series. I gotta say, I was shocked to see that the desk almost fully went for GenG in the opener here, as we are rocking with Magic Bear point of view in game 1. Obviously, we knew GenG were a good team. They go all the way to the grand finals against NRG in Open 4 to start the split off. They've added Justin. Oh my goodness, this team is incredible. Are they the best team in the world? We all freak out. But they end up getting run over by NRG in that grand finals, despite making it there in great form, beating NRG en route. And coming in here, you know, Ultimates have expectations. GenG have expectations. Who is going to come out on top? NRG are clearly the #1 team in North America. But who's number 2? For me, it's one of these two teams. I know people can make strong arguments that they would like for SSG. I'm just not there yet, but that's probably a totally different video. So, in Open 4, GenG took down Power Rangers. They killed Shopify Rebellion. They 4-1'd NRG. They beat SSG in 7. And then they lost in the grand finals to NRG in a near-perfect sweep. NRG beat them pretty badly in that rematch there. Leaving that open, though, my impression was Cheese had just gone up a level, especially defensively. Justin also added more speed and mechanical competency. It helps create a more varied offense, and Magic Bear could pick his spots to be creative on ball as opposed to needing to be more of a workhorse for this team offensively. Reddles was an excellent table setter, did a lot for this team mentally, but you really kind of needed Magic Bear to carry the mantle, as it were. And of course, Cheese's improvement has taken some of that burden as well, but I think Justin has just added a different level here for them. And most importantly, the weight and baggage accrued from their previous roster evaporated. There was less mental energy spent thinking about past failures like FIFA E, where they didn't quite make the playoffs, or the Birmingham Major, where they fell short of the top 8. Now, Open 5 here, they're heading into this matchup. They 3-0 Swiss. They beat SimTalk +1, Strictly Business. They beat Deleted in the groups, as we are going to get the first goal of the game on the board here to open this series up. And don't worry, we're going to get a lot of thoughts about Ultimates on the page here as well, but let's talk about GenG for another second here. They lose to NRG. They take the only game off of NRG over the entirety of this event. NRG completely rolled. I think they were 18-1 game differential. Direct had posted something. It was the most dominant game differential that we have seen. And here is Magic Bear trying to create some magic of his own here, trying to trace down LJ. They sweep Poab with a 13-3 goal differential to reach the playoffs here. I mean, GenG are in form. They've only lost to NRG. That's exactly what you would anticipate. Now for Ultimates, as LJ is going to try and get a beat over 1 here, but Justin's going to call it out early. First killer's going to whiff. 2 upfield, as Chronic and LJ couldn't connect upfield, and that is a very easy transition for 2-0. Ultimates, they seem to have slowed down a little bit here in Split 2. Basically anything would be a slowdown off of making grand finals at the first major of the season, but I kind of, having been somebody with a lot of doubts heading into not only the season but also into the major, kind of looked at that as a learning opportunity to say, wow, I mean, this Ultimates team have seemingly found their identity, as a nice little fake there from Chronic is going to get them on the board. But they found their identity. They're a counter-attacking team. Seems like LJ and First Killer really have figured some stuff out offensively. Chronic is getting involved on the offensive end. in a way that just makes them a really potent threat. Will they leave this major, go into split 2, and challenge NRG for the top spot? And instead of that, they've allowed the crowd to kind of catch up to them a little bit. The SSGs and the GenGs of the world have elevated their game, and Ultimates have kind of continued on the form that they were on. And let's see, how did this goal come to fruition here? Magic Bear all the way back, grabs a full boost. LJ's just going to kind of leave it into the middle there, and Cheese with a massive heads up bump on first killer just parts the seas there for that score. And this Ultimates team, they're the big story of day one. We talked about the power outage with LJ, where they end up dropping down, and this set up a huge chain reaction that is definitely going to set a very exciting scene here for Open 6. But as we're finishing out the game here, Magic Bear totally stuffs the stat sheet. 2 goals, an assist, and a save on 5 shots. And look at those numbers there from the Ultimates. Not only Chronic and LJ with a lot of goose eggs on the board, but also look at that shot total as we're going to head into the final game of our series here. Finish talking about the Ultimates and then kind of break down what we saw from this series overall. Game 6, Neo Tokyo. We are on Cheese point of view. Probably my MVP from this series, if I'm being honest, and probably my MVP for this Gingi roster overall, which really is saying something about the journey that Cheese has been on here early in his career. But yeah, Open 6, 11 teams control their own destiny. NRG have already clinched. 10 other teams have to, I think it's like get like a top 6, or there's 4 or 5 teams that if they win the whole thing, they've clinched. So maybe Reddles is going to get the back-to-back. Why not us there with Shopify, although I might have my doubts. Ultimates, power outage from LJ. They respond in style. They put up a 7-goal game on a very young and exciting SOS team. They put up a 7-goal game on Complexity to knock them out of the tournament before they even get to the playoffs. That's our journey. Let's talk about this series a little bit. Why don't we? You got to start with Cheese. And that's why we're on his point of view. And just defensively great on the goal line. Not only goal line saves, just getting a great read on the play, but also realizing and breaking up 1v2 situations by going early, getting to the ball before he can get bumped. On the offensive end, not just as a goal scorer, but really more as an accessory like we're going to see on this play right here. Gets the demo, forces Chronic to go quick. Those upfield bumps and demos, getting a beat on the ball and then not giving up on the play, going forward and making an additional play to set something up. He's just a handful to deal with. He is all over the place, erratic in the best possible sense of the word, as he's going to try and put this one in here. And on the other end, for the Ultimates, first killer is just so good. I made my top 50, and he was my second best player in North America. Obviously, NRG are doing NRG things. Beast Mode is back into his form, but gosh, first killer is so good. And for me, in this series, he just needed more. LJ was a non-factor, which might be too strong. He was a non-factor by LJ standards. Outside of Game 5, he had 2 really nice table set assists that he had. He really wasn't doing much, and obviously, as soon as I talk about that, he's going to crunch that double touch off the first killer steal there. But there was a lot of plays for LJ. At his best, he is an on-the-ball demon, just a player where he gets control of the ball, gets multiple touches, gets a flip reset, beats one, bumps a second, and a lot of those were just kind of falling short for him over the course of the series. Weren't quite as dangerous as we typically anticipate from LJ, who's going to give this ball over to Cheese and fakes the mid pass. You see Chronic's there for it. Gingi love going for those midfield passes, and they've evolved a little bit to not just give them up every single time. And then to finish up Ultimates, Chronic, you kind of always want a little more from him offensively, and maybe that's unfair just because of all the stuff that he's asked to do for them defensively and off the ball, but not somebody who gets a lot of demos sits third for them a lot, and that's kind of, you have to have a player like that in a sense when you have First Killer and LJ on your roster. Two players who love to be upfield and be on the ball, and Chronic has taken on that role, but there's just some times where he just doesn't make the optimal touch as he is going to get a beat there in the midfield. And then for GenG, um, I was thinking as this roster move happened, um, when they first get together with Optic and it's AJ, Reddles, and Magic Bear, it's like, man, look at what AJ is doing offensively. I talked to Raw Greg, their coach, recently, and I was like, AJ was just one of the best offensive options in North America at that point in time. And when they get away from that roster, it's like, hey, maybe this is the opportunity for a young player like Magic Bear to take that next step and shine a little brighter, get more touches offensively. And that ends up kind of being Cheese, who is really impactful on the ball, especially from your counting stat standpoint. Reddles still taking a lot of shots as well. And then they move off of Reddles, and it's like, oh man, maybe this is the time where Magic Bear is going to do it. And, maybe that's just kind of an unfair position to put Magic Bear in, where he's so talented and we always want him to be the number one player for a team. But, maybe his destiny is to be the best second option for a team where he's not super high volume. And look at this play here, as Cheese just going to lace that one bottom corner to tie us. Game 6, what a massive moment for them. Let's actually watch this one back real quick. Basically no boost, and watch this touch from First Killer. He's going to pop it, but it just sets it up perfectly for Justin to take this over to the corner. Cheese checking back and forth constantly. Magic Bear not going to panic, floats it over to Justin, and just perfect placement there from Cheese. Not the best touch from First Killer, and I might just tie a bow on the point that I was making earlier, because real quick, Cheese is going to take this one off the hood of First Killer and call game. Let's look at that one more time. This honestly isn't even a bad touch from First Killer. This is just big brain play from Cheese here, who knows that First Killer wants to take the overtime, take control of this ball, and he's just going to try and just pop it to himself. It's a great play to try and take control. A little too heavy, and Cheese is just right there for it. And let's look at our score here. Cheese just, 2 goals, 3 saves on 4 shots in a closeout game. The 2 biggest goals of the game. Just a massive series there from Cheese. And I think the tail of the tape here was, this series would have been way uglier if it wasn't for First Killer. He had an unreal winner in Game 3 off the ceiling, and a crazy opener in Game 5 as well. Ultimates just felt outpaced. GenG were all over him. They had a ton of space. They were the first or second chances in the box a lot, where Ultimates were just kind of sitting there looking at each other, especially LJ and Chronic. They double committed a ton. If both of these teams are on, I think I'm still going to pick Ultimates, but GenG were in great form here, and Ultimates were a little bit behind it, and that ended up being the difference maker. These teams are very, very close. GenG ended up falling to the boys, a very weird series, great result for them. But if you were to ask me now, if I had to rank these teams, if we're going into Open 6 tomorrow and I were power ranking them, I think at major, I would still pick Ultimates, but regionally, I would go NRG, GenG, Ultimates, SSG, Complexity, and who would be my 6th there? 9 Lives is a name I'm considering, but I don't think I'm going to put him there. Honestly, I think I'd pick the boys. They looked really, really good, and I was impressed by them. So that's the breakdown. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know in the comments below, if you haven't already, what you make out of these 2 teams. Who do you think is the better of the 2 if they were to play again tomorrow? I think I'd still give the edge to Ultimates if we were to see them in Raleigh, but they got to qualify first. So guys, That is it for me. Thank you so much for giving me time out of your day. And until next time, guys, take it easy.